Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's Jade Melody here. Today we are going to be doing a front split stretch routine. This one is going to be a follow along, so you can literally just follow along the routine with me, and you can repeat it as many times as you want, and the more you do it, the better your front splits are going to become, and hopefully over time of doing this you'll be able to comfortably sit into that front split. Make sure you adapt all of these exercises to yourself and only push yourself to the place that you can go safely. But let's get ready, grab yourself a mat, and we're going to nail these front splits. Okay, so we're going to be starting this off with the classic hip rotation exercise. This is called the 90-90. So you're going to go for hands down next to your bum. We're going to be trying to push one knee down into the center and one knee out to the side, attempting to not let bum lift off the floor or move around, trying to keep hips really steady and just trying to rotate in your hip joint. Your splits do take quite a bit of hip rotation, so really important to warm this up before we go for that. Now the further you lean back, the easier this is going to be. So the more upright you sit, the harder it's going to be, and the further you lean back, the easier. So up to you depending on your ability, where you want to go. We're then going to turn into one side of our 90-90 and go into a bit of a pigeon stretch. Now, if you're struggling, you can keep your knees bent, but if you find it pretty easy, then you're going to straighten your back leg. We're going to do some rocks here. So we're going to be rocking our hips forwards and backwards, aiming to push that hip bone that's open down into the floor and push our chest down into the floor as well. So we're starting by just rocking backwards and forwards, making this a dynamic stretch, which means we're moving through it as we just rock forwards and backwards, trying to get a stretch into that front glute. And then we're going to go into a static hold, so into a pigeon stretch. Again, if you can't do this stretch, you can just bend the back leg and that'll make it a little bit easier here. But we're aiming to get our chest down towards the front knee and think about pushing our hips down into the floor as well. So we're trying to rotate, making sure those hips are facing down into the floor, chest is over that front knee. I'm trying to get a stretch in the front glute and in the back hip flexor as well. And then going to swap, we'll do the other side as well. So again, 90 degrees. If you're struggling, just stay in those two 90 degrees, or if you find it easy, extend the back leg into a full pigeon position. Again, we're going to rock first, so dynamically moving through it first of all, rocking backwards and forwards, thinking about pushing our hip bone into the floor and then relaxing backwards again. And if you're struggling, just bend that back leg, and also just take your time with these rocks. There's no rush on them. Just try to think about warming up this stretch and moving through the movement first of all. Then we'll go down. We're going to statically hold it. So if you can, send your chest down. If you can't, you can just keep your chest elevated, but preferably we're going to lower that chest down towards the front knee. We're going to be pushing the hip of the back leg down into the floor, trying to get that stretch in that front glute and also that stretch in the back hip flexor as well. Two really important areas for your splits here. Again, just get that chest as low as you can and breathe deeply into this position here, and just keep holding for a few more seconds. Just get the most out of this pigeon position stretch. Really good one for your splits. Then we're just going to get a little bit of movement into the calves, so just going into a downward dog. We're just focusing on the calves here, so I'm just going to push one heel down into the ground and then the next, and just alternate through and just focusing on those calves mainly. And then we're going to step through into a lunge, so bringing one leg forwards and one leg back, placing the back knee down on the floor into this big lunge stretch you can see here. So I'm trying to push the hip flexor of the back leg down, and if you can, preferably go all the way down onto your elbows. So you can stay just where I was before, up on your hands, but if you can, get right down onto those elbows. And we're just rocking backwards and forwards here. So we're just kind of trying to move around, trying to get comfortable in the stretch, trying to find a good position here. We're just trying to keep it kind of mobile for now, just keep moving, rocking backwards and forwards and getting into a nice position. Just thinking about, again, pushing that back hip flexor down into that position. So this is kind of the beginnings to doing your splits, that back leg in that kind of split position here. And again, if you need to be more upright, you can be more upright, but it's up to you really. We're just trying to get comfortable into this position, shuffling around a bit, just making sure that we're getting that stretch. Then we're going to try and lift the back leg and bring that heel into your bum. Use your hand to pull that foot as close to your bum as possible. So you can see how my foot is almost touching my bum. I'm trying to bring that foot super close. So you're using the opposite hand to the leg that's behind you. If you want to add more stretch, you can take both hands off the floor and try and hold there, but it's completely up to you. Really, the main aim is to keep the hip of the back leg pushing down and keep the foot pushing in. Again, we'll do a few dynamic rocking backwards and forwards. So we'll hold it for a second, then we'll just rock backwards and forwards, thinking about getting that foot as close to the bum as you possibly can, squeezing with your hand and pushing that hip flexor down deep into the floor here. So I'm just rocking backwards and forwards, and then again pausing and holding just for the last few seconds, just trying to get that full stretch in the hip flexor and in the quad at the same time. Then we're going to have a little switcheroo, so onto the other side. Again, I'm going to go for a lunge position to start, so big lunge, and then again preferably down onto those elbows if you can. And first of all, just play around, move around a bit, find a position that's good, just have a little play around, move those hips, find a position for hands and legs that feels comfy, and just try to move through. Now you can, if you want to, take the back knee off the floor, just go into the back toes like I am here and rock backwards and forwards in that position. If you feel that is comfortable for you to do, you can see my back knee off the floor. If you find that you can do that, then absolutely go for it. Again, we're mainly just playing around in this position, trying to find a comfy stretch at the bottom here. Again, deep breaths in this position, and then we're going to go for our hip flexor quad stretch. So lifting our back foot with the opposite hand, reaching around and grabbing that foot, trying to bring it as close to the bum as we possibly can. So squeezing in. Again, if you want to take your hands off the floor, you absolutely can, as long as you can keep that hip flexor down in the ground. Then doesn't really matter, but it's up to you, whatever feels comfy. And then again, rocking backwards and forwards, so watch how my hip moves backwards and then my hip moves forwards, and I'm trying to pull that foot into my bum, then relax it, then pull it in, and just focusing on trying to get that heel as close to the bum as we possibly can with this one, and pushing my hip down into the floor at the same time. So we are then going to come back into a lunge position, and for this one we're going to be rocking backwards and forwards. So we're going to go into a big lunge, trying to push hip flexor down into the floor, and then rocking backwards, so pushing the hips back. You're trying to keep your chest relatively close to your quad during this one, so keep that chest really low down and trying to stick it to your quad, and only straightening your front leg as much as you can with keeping that chest down. You can support yourself with your hands as well here to make sure you stay stable, and also making sure to pick the toes up off the floor when you push yourself back. We're then going to statically hold it here, so trying to shuffle our hands as far forward as we can, keeping our chest again glued down to that quad, and trying to straighten that front leg as much as we possibly can here. Trying to keep those toes pulled up as well, so just the heel in the floor. Keeping that chest down onto that quad is the main part of this movement, and we're just holding this stretch here. Should be feeling it mainly in the hamstring, the back part of your leg there, as you just sit back and hold that stretch for a few more seconds, just taking deep breaths in this position and trying to straighten that leg, keep pushing backwards. We're then going to swap, do the exact same thing on the other side. So again, gluing your chest down through your quad. I'm going to start by just rocking backwards and forwards here. So we're not actually trying to push our bum down onto our heel. So there is a hamstring stretch where you kind of sit your bum down on the floor with your other leg out in front of you. This is not the stretch we're going for on this one. So we're trying to actually not push that bum down to the heel. The aim is to just push our hips backwards, trying to keep my bum relatively stacked over my knee at the back. And the main thing is thinking about not letting that chest come away from your quad. So trying to keep that chest stuck down to the quad as we rock backwards and forwards. The further you kind of shuffle your hands forwards and the more you kind of push that chest down, the further you'll start to really feel that connection into your hamstring. So again, only go as straight as you can, keeping those toes up in the air, trying to keep that leg as straight as it can go. This stretch really good as well for that sciatic nerve that runs down the back of your hamstring and kind of into your glute and stuff. Really, really good for if you're quite a sedentary person as well. So really good stretch, this one. And now you're pretty much ready to just give your splits a go. You can go round that circuit as many times as you want. I would recommend stopping at the end to give your splits a quick practice and sit in them for however long you want, however long feels comfortable. Just try and get as low in that split as possible. Then if you have time, you can start the routine from the very beginning, and every time you go around that routine, your splits should get more comfortable, deeper, and a lot more easier to do. And then again, you can repeat that circuit as many times a week as you want, and you should find that that splits position comes a lot easier. But just take your time when you're entering into that splits position, enter it into the way that feels comfortable for you, and you can use your hands to support you on the floor as well. And that is the front split stretching routine. So again, you can continue to just repeat that in your own time. You can repeat it throughout the week as well. The more times you do it, the better you're going to get at it, and hopefully soon enough you will comfortably have your front splits. Make sure to like and subscribe to my channel for more follow alongs just like this, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.